Hey everyone, welcome to my I Love Learning podcast today. This is Tim Sohn and this is his walk-up song. Do it, Tim.
Let's go. Let's dance. No, wait, we're doing a show. But can we dance
We're
too?
doing it. No, it's perfect.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on my, I like the music. That was your walk-up song. And today is an extra special edition of my podcast because the first half we're celebrating Tim, and then the second half we're celebrating Thrive with a bunch of awesome people that will be joining us around 2:30. So the first half, we're going to learn all about Tim. Tim is a best-selling author of Perspectives on Illness that had contributing, goodness, there's so many books that Tim has done. I can't even begin to talk about them all. But Tim is an inspiration for everyone. Hi, John, and everyone that he shows up for, including me, including everyone that he does, and he shows up for himself. And I am so glad that Tim is here to share with us and introduce himself to the audience about how amazing he is, despite the hurdles that he has in his life. And he has the mind of a champion. I will tell you that, goodness, I mean, if anyone should be on my podcast, it's Tim. Tim, welcome to I Love Learning. Why don't you introduce yourself? It looks like Dorothea's on too, but everyone probably knows Tim, but introduce yourself and tell everyone what you're passionate about.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Gina. I'm so excited for this day. I've been waiting and it's here for me to be on the podcast, but more importantly, to celebrate you and your new book and all the people that are going to be celebrating you starting at 2:30 until 4:30. And I am passionate about celebrating other people like Gina.
Aww. Tell us what your true passion is? What's your true passion and your true self? Now, I know you like celebrating other people, I do think I've known Tim almost a year now, not quite a year, but through the past year, Dorothea and John can attest, Tim is passionate about helping people with invisible illnesses and cancer. What do you think?
Yes. I mean, also people are still celebrating who they're saying the day is here. See, I'm the king of deflection. I don't know if you know this, Gina, but I don't like to talk about myself. So I don't know how good of a guest I am.
No, you
Andy
are.
is here. But seriously, I am passionate about celebrating people, and I'm really excited for today. But I'm also passionate about giving people safe spaces to share their stories, whether it's cancer or invisible illnesses or whatever it is, because it brings people together. Like Gina, your story is in the Perspectives on Invisible Illness book, and Doritha and John and so many other people. And because we can connect with each other, we can learn from each other, and we can also uplift each other and support each other.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, that helps us feel better and happier because it releases dopamine and serotonin and good chemicals in our brains that bring us together. And in fact, if you are struggling, and you mentioned this last night in your podcast with your guest, you shouldn't do it alone. And you shouldn't be alone, because learner to learner engagement is so powerful for releasing those chemicals. So Tim, you can't hide. And I know sometimes you try to hide. So if you're out there hiding, do not hide. Come out and come out indeed. I love that. So Tim, let me ask you then, because I know you like to hide sometimes, which is totally fine because everyone needs a break to hide. But, I don't know, the audience maybe not everyone knows that you have an illness, right? That's invisible. Yeah. So with that, or maybe you don't want to, focus on that, but what are hurdles or anything that stands in the way of your passion of helping other people?
So like you were saying, I do like to hide sometimes. I really don't hide that often, but this December, at the beginning of December, I was just like, I need a break. like with
Yeah.
having so many conversations about cancer with people on screen, off screen, the Invincible Illness book. Yeah. The in-person event was just in October. We recently created Showing Up into a nonprofit. So it's just been like a lot, you know, a lot. So I was just like, I need to take a break from the show because it was just getting to be too much. And I think that's important that we do that, right? We like that we're self-aware when we need to take a break, or maybe like go running like you used to do, or not used to do, you do, or go out in nature, or whatever
with the
it
trees.
is.
Yes.
Trees, go hug a tree, whatever it is.
Yeah, I know it's so important, and you need somebody there to help you, because sometimes, right, it's just really hard to get up and get moving and get going and feel good like that. So, you know, I admire you because you do have cancer and you don't feel good. You know, I was having a conversation this morning with Shay. I don't know if you know Shay Lynch, but he lives in Ireland. Do you know him? You should.
No.
I don't know if he's watching, but he is an incredible human. And him and I had a conversation this morning about like having, you know, you thought I was going to write in the book about celiac, you know, or like, you know, eating and like not feeling good. And like, because when you don't feel good, like your skin is inflamed, and, you know, having a cancer, or, you know, having those chemicals from the treatments, you just don't feel good, you know? And so how do you show up and you don't feel good? Like, you know, and so this, you know, thinking about that is so important. And so and I know you don't feel 100%, you know, I know you don't. And so what inspires you every day when you don't feel 100% to keep going? Like, what inspires you to get out of bed? Because I know some days are not easy.
Rubber chickens.
And goats? Can we have a screaming goat?
Yes.
Can I have a screaming goat? Goat? Yeah, I get the goat.
But I think also like what inspires me to keep going is my family, and wanting to be able to continue to show up to support other people, you know, through showing up. Because showing up is just, it's such a supportive community, or I like to call it a family of people. And like, there are days that sometimes I don't feel like showing up, but then when I do, and all these people show up, like you, like Aretha, like John, like Andy, you know, that just, I get so excited because to see them. I don't really see them, but I see their comments and their thoughtful thoughts, and it's really beautiful.
I love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
John says self-care is the greatest gift we can give ourselves. Isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
It is so much.
And this mysterious LinkedIn user is saying happy launch day. Congrats, Tim and Gina.
Oh, that's awesome.
Let us know who you are. Put your name in the chat.
Tell us where you're coming from. Yeah. So Tim, what makes you happy? What makes you happy? Like, what is it? What drives you? What drives Tim Sohn? I'm not going to pronounce your name wrong because I've done it like a billion times. So I'm very sensitive to that.
No, it's all good. Or you could just go with Tim. No, I'm just kidding. What makes me happy? Being here makes me happy. Celebrating you makes me happy. Celebrating other people makes me happy. Focusing on projects that do good in the world, like showing up no matter what it is. And also being in nature and playing with my kids. Because I'm really a kid at heart, and sometimes very obviously in real life too. So yeah, all those things.
I love that. That's incredible. So what do you want to learn in 2025 that's going to continue to make you happy and grow? What do you think? What is it? What are you thinking you want to learn?
I want to learn what other farm animals I could get that are rubber and that speak. Do you have any suggestions?
Farm animals, I don't know about that, but I do keep my eyes out for different things like hot dogs. And Scott even found a picture of a hot dog at a restaurant and told me to send it to you. So I know how much you like hot dogs. So I was hoping you'd show up today in a hot dog outfit for our listeners. The thing is, like, if you're listening and you listen to this later on my podcast or on Spotify, you know, I think laughter is so important, and it's not really deflecting. You know, laughter actually helps you feel better. And if you have someone that can pick you up and make you laugh, and Tim likes to laugh a lot and he makes me laugh, and, you know, I can tell him, be really frank and tell him like, look, I mean, I'm going to go cry in the shower. So I'll see you later. You know, but if you can make each other's laugh and show up, I think that's so important. And that key is you shouldn't be alone. You know, if you're feeling lonely, join an online community. I met Dorothea and John through Tim, you know, and I love that, you know, you can meet people at an authentic level just through showing up. So I love that, you know, people do that for each other, and that's so critical. So thank you for that. Thank you for showing up. And I love that you know, farm animals make you happy, and I'll remember that. So I'll remember that. What is something that you learned, Tim, that left an impact on you? What was something that you learned, and who did you learn it from, or where did you learn it?
So at the in-person showing up event this year, Erica Newbert Campbell, who used to be my co-host on Showing Up, she talked about resilience. And she talked about this idea that we're already resilient. Like sometimes it's hard to see it for us, but it's already there. And we just need to figure out, like, maybe we need some tools to help us get going to become more resilient, but it's internally inside of internally inside of us. So I thought that was really powerful. She gave this whole talk at the in-person event, and she had like an activity, and it was really engaging and fun. So shout out to Erica Newbert Campbell, and know that you are already resilient.
Yeah, it's inside of you. I actually talk about that in my book too. Finding the resilience that lives inside can unlock the beautiful potential within. And it's stirring in there and you don't even know. You have to unlock it. You know, you have to find it. And goodness gracious, for what you and Dorothea and John and everyone listening, things that you've gone through that are so tough and so like, how am I ever going to move forward? You have to find that resilience and courage. And speaking of brave and courage, I see Heather McWilliams on, and, you know, talk about bravery and just being brave and just, you know, living life, and so important. And I love that little thing. You know, one thing I learned last night was about a doula. I was telling Elizabeth on my team today during our team meeting, I didn't ever hear, I was like, where have I been living? I have never heard of the term doula. So I am so thankful that I met her, just so I can like learn about these things, these opportunities that people do for each other to help each other through these hard times. You know, I needed a doula about 2 months ago, and I didn't even know it until last night. So that was incredible. Tim, what does winning look like to you?
Winning, that's a really good question. I think winning for me is figuring out ways to be happy. Like right now I'm focusing on happiness. And like,
I love that.
How can I get there? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Oh, and Breen is here. And Breen, I loved your podcast today. I was on for the first half before my meeting, and I got to hear your guest, who is phenomenal. So thank you for that. She's so great. She's in Saudi Arabia. So we have guests from around the globe. And Breen is she's a beautiful soul. So if you don't know Breen, you should. She's incredible. Hi, Breen. Yeah, I definitely think, she's so sweet. I think it's so important. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate that. Someday I'm going to meet Breen in person. We are going to meet someday soon, hopefully, and we can get, you know, and you and me too, Tim. I feel like I already met you in person,
right?
But we haven't met. I'm going to come, but see you this year. But happiness is So important. And I hope my book helps people move forward towards finding that true self and happiness, because 2025 truly is the year to thrive. So I love that.
Yeah.
What if someone told you, and I don't know, this is what if, you know, if someone has, you've had these conversations in your community that deal with cancer, but you know, in my industry with trucking, you know, I've had truck drivers say to me that they're so lonely, and like they're in the truck, and specifically that they're feeling depressed. And this is why I wanted to give the gift of my book, because I want to help people find happiness within. So if someone told you in your community of the cancer survivors and supporters, and what would you tell them? How are they going to find their passion again? What if they tell you that they have lost their way? What advice would you give to them?
I would suggest that they reach out to other people that are now or have been in similar situations as theirs. Like, as a cancer survivor, you know, oftentimes you can feel lonely if you haven't had conversations with other patients or survivors. And so by having conversations, you feel more understood. You're like, wow, they get me. Like, on last night's show, Talea Dendi, like, I just wanted to nod my head, like, yes, I get you, like, the entire show, you know? So if you can find a place where there's people who have gone through similar situations, and LinkedIn is a great place to do that. I mean, yes, it's a professional platform, but people have shows about all sorts of things and write about all sorts of different topics, including cancer and invisible illness. So you are not alone and it's easy to search on LinkedIn. You could just search in the search bar, you know, with words or with different hashtags and that kind of thing, and just reach out to people.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was going to ask you where you find these people, because I mean, that's the thing. It's kind of hard to know, like, where do you find them? Like, and Breen just said, I mean, and Breen and I feel like I know her. Like, she was my energy soul sister from obviously a different country across the world. And like her and I feel like our energies just align, and we met each other through LinkedIn. And so, you know, just having like that conversation. But what if somebody doesn't have access, or they're scared like of all the things like those social media, you know, you hear a lot of negative things. Where are some other ideas? I know you went to a writing workshop once, or twice, maybe one time you went, but the second time you went, it was good, like to meet people. Like, where would you recommend? What are some other things that you do to go out and meet people? If you have ideas, put them in the comments if you're listening. But I do running, so I run with Scott, but there are a lot of running groups. So, and if you don't run, you can walk. I mean, this is totally a non-judgmental like sport or community. It's kind of like cycling. I talked to Mike Cobble yesterday, and he's a cyclist and he cycles a lot. And he was telling me how they cycle at different age groups. So you can like cycle at your age group so you don't feel intimidated. So you can like focus in an area with people that have similar things. So where would you go, Tim? Where do you find these people?
So I was in New Hampshire a few months ago, and I was like, where am I going to find people around here in person? Because I don't know anybody except where I was working at, and I was just starting to learn who they were.
Yeah.
So I went to, there's this website and app called Meetup.
Okay.
And you can
I didn't
search
know
in
about
Meetup.
that.
Yeah, you could search in Meetup for whatever you're looking for, like maybe like writers group or running group or whatever it is. And they have both in-person and virtual events that people can list there. Or if you have some kind of group, or you can even create, if you have an event going on or want to create one, you could post it in Meetup. And Meetup is not a sponsor of the show, but it is really awesome.
I've never heard of it. I don't. I'm like you. I want to hide. I don't want to meet up sometimes. So I don't know. It's like, that's an interesting thing. Okay. If you're feeling lonely, I don't want to promote it, because I don't know. There might be strange things there too, but just be careful, whatever you do, like be aware, you know, all of those things. All right, Tim. So I have a question. I know we have about 10 minutes left or so before my book launch. We bring on special guests today. But I do want to ask you, so every podcast I do, I have this thing I do this year, this season, is where I ask a guest from the past or of the week to ask a future guest a question. And I actually took a break like you over the holidays. So after 2 weeks of being gone, I'm back. But on December 19th, I had Navapal Tekaram come on my show, and he had a fantastic question for you. Are you ready for his question?
I'm ready.
Yes. Are you ready? Okay. His question was, with all the treatments and medical care that a person has to go through with cancer, what keeps you positive?
People, friends, showing up, family, you, my family, people, yeah. And people like you are so encouraging. So that really helps me.
Well, I think it's really important that you just reinforce the fact that we're in a time where people are feeling disconnected and alone. And we have to be part of the movement to help that. Because if you're feeling alone, they're probably not on this podcast. They're not here. They're somewhere else, Tim. They're hiding. And we got to find them, and we got to reach them, and we got to save them and help them make them feel better. And let them know that they have the resilience inside of them that can unlock this powerful thing that we have discovered this past year, which connects us, right?
Yes. Screaming
Absolutely.
Goats connect us.
Exactly. So that's so incredible.
And hot dogs.
So next, and hot dogs. The thing is, I don't even like hot dogs. I can't eat them. Can't eat the hot dogs. But yeah, it is an interesting concept. To connect people is to think of things that make you laugh. So I do have a special guest I want you to create a question for. So not next week, because next week my team is taking a mental health break and we are going to Costa Rica. So my Luma team, we're going to be closed next week. Luma, we're going to have some people who are brave and they volunteered to stay back to support the team. But we are having a group. So next week I won't have a podcast from like Podfest. I'm going to take a week off. But the week after, I'm going to have on January 23rd, Richard Walker, and he is the senior manager at a transportation group, and he is in my industry. And wow, talk about an inspirational guy. I am so looking forward to having him on because he is really focused on the population that I work with. So Tim, what questions should we ask him when we get back from Costa Rica?
Okay, so I was debating between two.
Okay.
So one of them is, what role do you believe continuous learning and skill development play in staying ahead in the transportation industry?
Whoa, that's a good one.
Or choice two is, what is your favorite animal?
Oh, I like that question. Can we do that one? Can we do it as we close out my podcast, and you can give everyone your information and leave us with some great words? Do you want to do that question? That sounds really exciting. What is your favorite animal, Tim? A goat? A goat. I should have known that. Oh my gosh. I love owls. I sent this to Andy Miller if he's still listening. I sent him this the other night. I turned my phone off because it'll ring all day, so I can't. But I had two owls outside. I went to an owl walk, and there was a male and a female owl, and they were singing to each other. It was their love language, and I have them on audio, so it's incredible. Well, I do want to say, Tim, I really appreciate you coming on my podcast today before my book launch party, which is starting in a few minutes here. I see we have a guest in the waiting room. So why don't you send my podcast off and tell everyone where they can find you, and leave us with some great, lasting, inspirational words as we enter into my book launch.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me, Gina. Inspiration, I mean, find a rubber squeaky animal. No, seriously. Like intentionally think about what makes you happy. Oftentimes we get so busy in our day-to-day life that we forget to figure that out or even think about it, right? So think about what makes you happy. Even just think about like one thing, and it doesn't have to be something crazy. Maybe it's like take a walk in nature and go do it. Just like pick something and go do it.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast today. And thank you so much for managing my book launch.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. This is a lot of fun. And I can't wait to see all of the impact that your book is going to make and is already making.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Now we're going to start the book launch segment of the show. So here we go. See you on the flip side.
See you.
And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome in to the book launch party for this lady over here, her brand new book, Thrive, How Learning Can Ignite a New Way Forward, which, yeah, I'm really excited to celebrate with you, Dr. Gina Anderson. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to celebrate all the amazing people who have wanted to join today and celebrate how they're going to thrive in 2025. My reason I wrote my book is because one day I was standing in an audience of thousands of people and I asked everybody, it was like April, and I said, how many of you feel like a 5? You feel really good. And I looked around the room and like 3 or 4 people raised their hand and I couldn't believe it. And I know that we're living in this world where we have so much opportunity to be connected, but people are not feeling good and they're feeling disconnected. And so like I found myself scrolling through Facebook and feeling really bad. I mean, feeling really bad. And there's research that's showing obviously the technology is addicting and it's actually releasing cortisol. And I wanted to write a book to help people thrive and feel good and feel happy and help those people. So next time when I go to the North Carolina Trucking Association in February and I ask people, who's feeling good? I have more than 3 people raise their hand. If not, I'm going to give them a copy of my book. So I'm so excited to celebrate the next hour or so with everyone that's going to come on and share how they're going to thrive and how they're so excited to just be part of the movement to help other people feel better and to save lives, because that's really, really what we want to do together. So thank you so much, Tim. Thank you, Jeff Green, for being here. I really appreciate seeing Ambreen and everyone who really is committed to this movement. So thank you so much.
Yes, and today we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate the book launch. We're actually going to be giving away some of Gina's books for free. So in order to participate in the book launch, what you're going to do is either on LinkedIn or YouTube, wherever you are, you're going to put the hashtag Ignite Your Thrive, and that will enter you to win a free book. And we'll be doing a few free book giveaways live during the show. which is really excited. And we're all exciting. And we're also going to be having 11 guests join us that are going to share how they plan to thrive in 2025. Right, Gina?
Awesome. Yes, and I can't wait. Everyone that's joining me who have volunteered to share their story is going to get a signed copybook from me, and I'm so excited. And I will be getting those out. But I really want to do some special thanks to all of those people: Marina, Blake, Kyle, Scott, Denise, Carol, Alan, Sadie, Joe, Julie, and all of you that are supporting me and have already bought the book and reached out on my text and everything this morning. I got some beautiful texts. And of course, thanks to Elizabeth Norquist. She's my director of art, and she created the art for the book, and the cover was Stephanie. She's with the Charleston photography. She did the cover, the actual photo, after many tries. She put up with me, so that was really nice. And also to Trisha Barger, who did the copy editing of my book, and to Tim for reviewing and helping me launch the book. I'm so thankful and grateful. So thank you all for helping me. But this isn't about me. This is about all of us supporting the movement to help each other, so that we don't feel lonely in this connected world. So thank you so much, Valerie, for showing up. So let's find out where people are tuning in from around the world. And we're going to find out how people are going to thrive in 2025. And thank you, Elizabeth. That's my director of art. She's incredible, y'all. So thanks, Elizabeth. How are you going to thrive? And we're going to find this out, right, Tim?
Yes. How do you plan on thriving in 2025, Dina?
Oh my goodness. Like, I really, the thing is, people talk about mental health, and I'm kicking it off the year by shutting down Luma. We're going to Costa Rica next week, my team. Like I said, we're still going to have support. So if my clients are listening, don't panic. But we are taking a break, and I plan to thrive by really, truly being connected in every conversation and having my mind in the moment with every conversation I have. I'm pretty good at it, but I want to continue to improve and be connected. That is so important because our minds wander so quickly that you are not in the moment with the people that you love the most. And the time with everybody is only so limited. And so you can't wait to be connected. Connection starts today. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yes, connection definitely starts today. And speaking of connection, let us know if you're ready to kick off the celebration. I mean, we're already celebrating.
Yes.
But if you are on board with celebrating, right? Heck yeah. No, right. Let's go in the chat. Gina loves the expression let's go. So let's go.
I do. Let's go.
Yes.
Awesome.
Gina, are you ready to invite our first guest on your celebration show?
Yes, I would love that. All right, everyone. I want you to meet Marina. She's going to come in here, and I'm going to have her introduce herself and tell you where she is from and what she's passionate about. And I cannot wait. She's our first guest on our celebration today, and she is the most incredible. I haven't met her in person yet. I'm going to meet her in February, but let's bring her in. Yes.
Hello, hello. I was hoping there'd be some hype music.
Oh, yeah. What's your walk-up song? Yeah. We should have had your walk-up song.
I have to think about that. Hello, everyone. Yeah. Hello, Dr. Gina and Tim. So nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited for you. I'm actually halfway through the book. It's so good. I can't put it down.
Thank you.
Shout out. Even I didn't finish reading. I already left a review on Amazon. So everyone, please go on Amazon.
That's awesome. Thank you.
But I'm here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm the managing director and co-founder of Apex Transit. And Apex Transit Logistics, we are an asset-based transportation provider. So I met Dr. Gina, we're connected with her when we started looking at Luma, and I'm like, I love this woman. I want more of her in my life. And I had brought her in as a speaker for our North Carolina Trucking Association Women in Trucking Council. Oh, so glad I got that right. That's a mouthful. But we are hosting a summit for women in trucking. I invite everyone here to attend. We still have a few slots available, and our room block expires in about 3 weeks. But It's going to be in Asheville. We want to support the local community that just went through a lot. And I know Rob is coming up next. We connected over all the trucking has done for that community there.
Oh.
You asked what I'm passionate about, and this is what I'm passionate about right here. This community trucking, the current chair of the Women in Trucking Council. And so it's been my passion to grow this community, and I've seen what it does. We talk about loneliness and we talk about thriving. And the community is truly the answer. And so I'm so glad, Dr. Gina, that you brought us all together. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, first of all, trucking keeps the world going, you know, and like, yes. Like when those, the devastation in North Carolina happened, I have an employee in Asheville, and it's like the fires out in California. Who are the people that are there helping aside from, you know, the fire departments and the EMTs and the doctors? It's the truck drivers, it's the fleets. You guys don't ever stop. And so to me, it's like, it's my passion too. Like, it's my passion to help fleets, you know, provide the best opportunities for all of their learners, whether it's warehouse or drivers, because when they say that they're struggling mentally or physically, we have to help them, right? Because otherwise they can't provide. And my dogs, I went and got dog food this morning for them. That's because of a truck driver. That's not just by chance, right? I mean, that's because of what you do. So thank you so much. Everyone that's listening, you know, they all kind of, I think, felt it in 2020. But before that, right? I mean, I don't think people really realized how much the trucking, right? I like walked into Costco and there was like nothing on the shelves. It was like completely, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, what's happening? You just take that for granted, right?
Exactly. You're so right. Nothing without trucking is what we say. And that's why I'm so passionate about this industry. You can make all the goods, but until a truck takes it from one place to another, it's not going to move. So I'm very proud to be part of this industry and proud to support the community with the jobs that we make.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you going to thrive in 2025? What's your goal to thrive?
I love that question. I've actually started asking everyone that, I'm like, so what's your goal? And to thrive, right? We can be so hard on ourselves, especially in the beginning of the year. We can look back and say, I didn't accomplish half of what I thought I would. And there's like, I'm going to be better this year. And then there's a lot of, I had to deal with a really strong inner critic that would just constantly beat me up. And then I went through a lot of inner work where I realized it's just like a little part that's trying to make me better, and understanding that. So, all of this answer your question, that it is about grace and acceptance. This year is going to happen and unfold like it will, whether we have a recovery in the trucking industry or not. It's going to happen. It's going to go on. The trucks are going to keep moving. And my goal is to just thrive with acceptance of what is happening and show up with purpose and strength, and grow my resilience. You know, it's easy to do well when everything is going your way, but when it's challenging, this is the time to sharpen that iron, to be the diamond, to start, you know, growing from that pain. So accepting the challenges is kind of my thrive. It's like, it is what it is. What can I make out of it? Like, how can I be the best with it? So no matter what comes my way, like how bad it gets, how good it gets, I'm going to be okay. And that's a really, really good thing to have. So that's how I will try.
I love that. I love that you approach everything in that way. And I think that's why, like, your energy is just so beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, the industry is so lucky to have you in the industry, like representing. And I'm not just saying that, I really mean that, because I really feel not only your passion, but like your commitment to make it better, you know, and your commitment to your people. And that's just the thing. There's always going to be people that try to, you know, go against that, because there's just some people like that. And you're just going to continue to fight and be positive and do the right thing. And that's what truly always wins, right? That's truly what wins. And that's what makes you feel good and know that you're making a difference at the end of the day. Because when it's all said and done, we know what truly matters, right? It's the community that we built and the relationships that we built. So thank you so much for doing that. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad to have you. So what one lesson has helped you ignite a positive change in your life, do you think? You kind of talked about it a little bit, but
Got it. Thank you. So this is live and a lot of podcasts. You kind of get the questions beforehand. So I love this. Just throw you in the fire. Gosh, there's so many lessons. I think also another thing that really helped me is just about perspective. It is you get what you look at, and it's like everyone's living from their own perspective, and just having the grace and acceptance goes on to the people, and just knowing that like that is your perspective, this is how you feel, it has nothing to do with me. Like we sometimes tend to internalize everything. It's like, why did they say that? What that's them, it's me, just emotional boundaries, controlling what I can control, and understanding that, you know, challenges will happen. But I also don't want to dwell on that negative. And sometimes I tend to have this positive Nancy Pollyanna vibe to, or not negative, positive Pollyanna, right? Like negative Nancy is the other way around. So there tends to be like, oh, you just want to stay positive all the time. I'm like, I have no other choice. Why would you do it any other way, right? It's like you get more of what you pay attention to, right? The trucking economy is terrible this year, right? Yeah, it's been really, really rough. But I also have had amazing growth. I've brought in some incredible teammates this year. I've got more accounts than I ever have. And it's just like, it is good. There's always good in the world to look at. And so the lesson for me is like, look for the good. But if somebody else sees it from a different perspective, that's just where they're at. And I will accept them and love them where they're at. It doesn't have to be my way. It's beautiful to have contrast and different variants of opinions across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important, right? Because there's no judgment in that, because it's learning. You learn a new perspective. Tell everyone what the belt is, just incredible. And I think you should tell everyone that's listening about the belt. It has a story. It says champion on it. And that's what we're all about, right? Is building a champion
I guess company. The whole event just
that's incredible, isn't it, Tim? That's amazing.
That's amazing.
It's heavy. It's so
big.
heavy. I want to see that. I'm going to come see that.
It is a great talking piece as well, because we get a lot of people like, what are you? And I just tell my drivers that I'm a champion wrestler, so don't mess with me.
Yes, they don't mess with you. Exactly.
But it is my award for being I guess an outstanding citizen in the trucking community. It kind of feels awkward to talk about yourself, but I'm going to go do it and just say it. Yes. I really got behind what the North Carolina Trucking Association stands for when I saw the differences that we can make by actually going out there and doing something about the problems that we're facing. And just instead of complaining, being an active member of the community. Yes, things will move slow, but at least we're moving and we're doing something about it. Where, you know, our community in Charlotte experiences a really high issue with towing, where there's a lot of predatory towing. And so, you know, instead of just talking about it, our association has got a whole plan. We're meeting with our representatives to come up with a plan to eradicate that. So there's already a bill in place because of our conversations to get rid of that. Where I'll give you an example. My driver was in Bojangles, like across the street. They closed. The predatory towing companies come in, book the truck, and they want $6,000 to remove the boot. That happened. That's real life. That's happening to me. I'm going out there negotiating with them and saying this is not right, but they can charge that and they can do that. But this new bill would not allow anyone to boot an occupied vehicle or would make it illegal for commercial vehicles to be booted. So this way, this doesn't happen again, not just to me, but to everybody else in the industry. So I got like really excited about the fact that one person can make a difference. Just show up and tell how it affects you, and it becomes contagious and more people come along. And so I just started really getting behind North Carolina Trucking Association, growing membership, sometimes working. It felt like a part-time job, like trying to get more people to come in, spreading the word. Planning the summit it's a 2-3 day summit where we want to make sure we get the right speakers in. We want to build engagement. We want to bring as many people. It's not just for women, it's men and women who are listening. There are so many motor carriers signed up, and it's an opportunity for our allied members to show up as well, to connect and network. This is how we do business. We do business with people we trust. And so all to say that I got this award for being really going above and beyond.
Incredible. Awesome.
Yeah, to promote the association's values. And a fun fact, it's an inaugural award, so that means it will I was the first one who got it, and we'll pass it on to somebody else at our conference in July. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Good. That's incredible. Well, oh my gosh. You definitely need to get a picture with yourself with it and frame it. If you haven't already, you definitely should do that. I'm speechless. I mean, it's not, and I'm not making this gender specific, but I will say this is my dog. She's kind of going crazy in my office right now. Of course, she knows I'm having a book launch. But what I was going to say is that, you know, the thing is, it's really incredible that a woman would get recognized for that in trucking specifically. And so I'm just really proud of you because, I mean, you're right. Only you can hold yourself back, right? Like you as a person hold yourself back. But when you say like you can make a difference, no matter if you're green or blue, or you live in Saudi Arabia or wherever you are in context, your gender, you can make a difference. Everyone, I have a story to tell. This is incredible. This happened yesterday. I met somebody in one of the social media groups. His name is Asher. His nephew played cricket, and I don't know cricket at all, the game, Marina. I don't know if you know cricket. I know nothing about cricket, but like apparently you can't like touch the whatever, I don't even know what you call the cricket instruments, but the ref at the end of the game said that he thought he did the right thing and that team won. But what happened was he actually touched the ball and they actually lost the game. And the boy that touched the ball, they actually were told they won the game. He went to his coach and he said, Coach, I actually touched the ball. Our team lost the game. And with your permission, I am going to go and I'm going to tell the other team that they won the game. I'm going to tell the coach that or the ref that I touched the ball and we should have lost, not won the game. And this is a child. This is like a 9-year-old child who did the right thing when nobody was looking. You know, they stood up for the right thing. And he went to the ref and like the whole team of like teenage boys couldn't believe that he went and he like basically told the truth. And that is a beautiful example of doing the right thing. And that's what you do. You do the right thing and you do it because you care so much about it. And that's the thing about having integrity, you know, having integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking. And so congratulations to you. I know that you're going to continue to be celebrated in trucking and outside of trucking. And definitely I love that. You are thriving. You are so thriving. So thank you for showing up and being part of my launch. And you are the first person to be here. So I'm glad we got to celebrate you first and celebrate your mission. You're welcome to stay for, as long as you want, but I wanted you to tell the audience, give them some encouragement for 2025. You kind of started off, kind of with what the industry is, but what would you like to leave the audience with today?
I think I'd just like to remind everyone to just have grace for yourself. If you're not perfect or things don't go, if you didn't follow that plan, like every day is new, start fresh tomorrow or today, just at this moment, decide like, all right, I'm going to do that meditation or that breath work or whatever it is that you said your goal was going to be, personal goal, just to do it now. It doesn't have to be, next Monday or whatever. It's just the time is now. This is all we have. It's the only thing that's guaranteed. Just living in the moment and being present, finding the gratitude for the little things. Like I have survived and thrived in this industry because I just always looked for the positive. I had a call yesterday. It was our driver got into an accident. I was like, usually, but I'm like, did he cause the accident? No, somebody else hit him. Oh, thank God somebody else hit him. It wasn't us. It was like, so it wasn't me. It wasn't our fault. So it's just like, everybody's okay. It's just metal. And in a way I could look at like, darn it, there's like all of the stuff that I have to deal with because, sorry guys.
That's fine. You have your phone. I have my dog, it's just the way it is. It's life.
It's what was my thought? Where it is celebrating the little things all day, every day will be the reason why we thrive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you could see that completely the opposite. It's kind of like that cricket game, right?
Yeah.
Nobody could believe that the coach, first of all, told the child, like, okay, yeah, go tell the ref that you actually touched the ball. The coach could have really easily, as the adult, been like, no, we won the game, just be quiet, but being positive and supporting what is right. And like you said, like, knowing that something happened that impacts your company, but still supporting your team in the way you need to. And that's what a great leader does. And that's what you do. So I love that. It's so awesome. I'm so glad that you are here today. So thank you for coming. That's a great word. Have grace for yourself. Look at someone just said, everyone's congratulating you. This is awesome. Thank you all so much for showing up.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Gina, for having me.
Thank you.
Awesome. More conversations, and I'm going to be listening to the rest.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marina.
Bye.
And everybody here at the Thrive book launch party celebrating Dr. Gina Anderson and her book called Thrive, How Learning Can Ignite a New Way Forward. And we want to thank everybody that's joining us, right, Gina?
Yes, it's incredible to see everybody here today.
Yes, Andy Miller, who's on your team, is clapping, and Gina, another Gina. So congratulations.
Gina is a family friend of mine. So thank you, Gina, for showing up. Mm-hmm.
That's
She's
awesome.
incredible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Terry Tish is here.
Okay.
Do we want to give away a free book? Did anyone?
Oh, yeah, let's do a giveaway. Yeah.
Thank you, Terry. I'm so glad you're here. Terry gave me a quote for my book. So, Terry, I was going to give you a book, but you can certainly order one too, and I'll send you a copy signed. Terry Tish. If you don't know Terry, you should know Terry. He's incredible. He's at RB Fuel, and he's an incredible person and leader. So definitely connect with Terry for sure.
That's awesome. And we want to remind everybody that if you want to be entered to win a book, you could put the hashtag Ignite Your Thrive on LinkedIn or YouTube, wherever you're watching from. And now we're going to do a giveaway, and we're going to use this nifty tool that StreamYard has in order to do this giveaway. Are you ready? Marina and Gina, are you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Are you excited? All right, here we go.
I'm excited. Oh, who's going to get a free book? You can email me and give me your address. So, I don't get it. Don't put it on me.
You won. Congratulations.
Oh, do it again. Remove
we'll do it again.
Okay, remove me. I do need to order books, but yeah.
Congratulations, Gina.
Yes.
Stacey Gibson.
Yay!
Congratulations,
awesome.
Stacey.
Good, Stacey. All right, Stacey, you email me. I'm gonna put my email in the chat, and you can email me your address. So I will send you a book. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Gina, tell us about what inspired you to write this book anyway. You were just like sitting around and you were like, I'm just going to write a book. Was that the story?
No, literally there were two events that happened that really inspired me to write the book. And while I was writing the book, my mom passed. So the book, the last three chapters are really authentic. And because I was going through that as well. But the reason I started the book, I started it because, like I said, I was at an event speaking, and there were people in the room. There was nobody that was happy. I mean, there were 3 or 4 people that raised their hand out of all these people. When I asked how many of them felt like 5s. And, the thing is, the Surgeon General came out with a report in 2023, and the Surgeon General talked about how, people are lonely. And I've experienced it. I don't know, Marina and Tim, if you've experienced it, but I have experienced being on Facebook and feeling sad. It's like my neighbors, they're all going to birthday parties and I'm not invited. Or I see people doing things and they're looking so fun and it's like I'm not included. And so I actually got off Facebook for a long time because I realized I was self-aware to realize it was making me feel bad. I actually sat in the parking lot at a grocery store and I looked at Scott and I'm like, Facebook just makes me feel terrible. And then the more research I was reading related to technology, obviously in addiction, I realized that this isn't by chance. It's releasing cortisol. It's making me feel stressed out, and I don't need any stress. Honestly, it's like, I was like, I need to write a neuroscience focused book on, how we can like not be so focused on technology and we can be more connected with people in the moment. Because I think that's the lost opportunity. Instead of looking at your phone, think how many times, like, I look at my neighborhood and there's like no kids around. It's like, where are the kids? I don't have children, but it's like my whole neighborhood, there's children and they're not around. Like, where are they? So for me, I was like, I need to write this book, and hopefully it's a movement for people to know, like, and the thing is, do they want to give up their phone? And like, it's not giving it up, but like, instead of like spending 14 hours looking at Facebook, like, let's like go out and volunteer and pick up trash on the beach together, or something like that. What do you think, Marina?
Yeah, you touched on this on your book. These apps are designed by people who literally study how to get you addicted to things. And so you're addicted to that dopamine effect, another hit. And so that's why the self-work of acceptance comes in first, where it's just like, I'm worthy and I'm enough as I am right now. And then seeing whatever people are posting as inspiration versus like the making you feel bad about yourself. And that's something I've struggled for a long time. I had to get off. I did the same thing. Like, I had to get off LinkedIn for a little while, Facebook. And so I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on the reverse on LinkedIn, where people could watch somebody post stuff and they're like, oh, having that kind of like, I wish I was that involved, or I wish I had that, or how it's playing, because that's the only social media I currently have is LinkedIn, and I limit myself to posts and I comment on my friends, and I'm grateful for them and I appreciate what they have, like what they're doing. But there's always like, okay, maybe I should be doing more. And so how do we deal with that?
Yes,
just compare.
I love that. I think it's definitely recognizing that thought and asking yourself why you're having that thought, because really we have to realize that we can't compare ourselves to other people and what they're doing, because you have no idea like the support they have. You have no idea what their background is. You have to really focus in on what you can control.
So
right.
True.
And so what you can control is very important to realize. And I have an activity in the book where you really have to think about why you're having that thought and then reposition the thought for something positive. And you're really good. I mean, you're already practicing this, right? About positive thoughts. So instead of asking like, why can't I do that? Say, what can you do? What do you have control over? And if it's making you feel bad, then don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't do it, because that's the thing. If something's making you feel bad and you recognize that, then you have to limit it from your life, because you don't need something that makes you feel bad. And you don't have to be on LinkedIn. You don't have to be. If you're using it, I'm on LinkedIn. And the thing is, I use LinkedIn to make authentic connections with people. Yeah. That's the purpose for me to be on LinkedIn. I met Tim that way. I met Ambreen that way. I met Barbara that way. I have real friendships with people that I've met through LinkedIn. And that's what I use it for. I use it to help people. And so you have to find your purpose for being on it. Like, why are you on LinkedIn? Or why are you on that? And why am I feeling that way? And if you can identify that, then you can remove that from your life so you don't feel that way anymore. It's so important. But I can see that you can compare yourself, from all those things. So I think it's important to recognize that.
Thank you so much. Yes, I agree.
You bet. I love that you had that question, because I think all of us really struggle from technology and those things that happen, in our lives. So,
and I just believe in being open and honest about everything that you're going through, because if I'm thinking that, somebody else is probably thinking that too. And I had a little bit of that earlier where I was just like, oh, I want to have that many connections. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I can't believe I'm thinking this. But then I'm like, well, what can I do? I'm like, I can start connecting with people and being genuine on here and being myself. And it all becomes organic, and noticing what is that like desire for. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And honestly, you shouldn't like think about the number of connections, right? It's really about meaningful connections. And speaking of that, I see Blake just left. I was going to bring Blake on because I met Blake through social media. Oh, well, he'll come back in a minute, maybe. I'll tell him. Maybe he didn't think it was time.
But somebody else also mysteriously showed up on the screen here. I think you know him.
Oh, yes. Hi, Scott. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, Scott, it's great to be here. This is super exciting.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone what you're passionate about?
Yeah, my name's Scott Anderson. I'm a co-founder of Luma and charge of all technology here. And I am passionate about being healthy and about learning.
I love that. That's incredible. Scott is if you don't know this, he's a genius.
Hey, I don't know. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, and Blake is here. And I was just going to
I can't hear you for some reason. That's not very fun. How are you? I can't hear your reaction. Let me see why that is the case.
Blake will get set up here. Well, Blake's figuring that out. Scott, tell us how you're going to thrive in 2025.
2025. Wow. Well, I would say that I have like these 3 goals that I've had for actually years, but I like it because I can like reframe them like every year. But they are be inspired, be present, and be healthy. And so those are 3 things that are extremely important to me that I really want to focus on. And so that's how I'm going to do it. So, I just want to focus on being inspired, reading as much as I can, learning as much as I can, anything that's going to help me know myself better. I've just recently got into like studying human behavior. I think that's extremely fascinating. And it's something that, you're talking about. We're all talking about like being present and being connected. And I think, anything that helps you learn about yourself and learn about the people around you, I think it's going to be positive all the way around. So, that's what I'd like to do. 2025.
That's incredible. I love that. Hey, Blake, can you hear us?
I can. I got it worked out.
Okay.
How are you all?
That's awesome. Good. Blake, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are?
All right.
I love your background. Look at that. You're gonna do a little. Yeah, I love it.
A little celebration for you there. Blake Lappin, background is 21 years in transportation, 6 years as a driver, and then the rest as a small fleet owner. We do yard management work and trucking, so a lot of experience there. Where I feel like I belong in this room is been bankrupt, had a very bad business partnership go wrong in a separate situation from the bankruptcy. There's a lot of talk about what dark days can do and what you can do as a result. And, the choice of sulk in it or the choice of get out and basically forget it and only take what you need to not do it again forward. These are really, really, really deep topics to me because it is not easy to get out of your own way in those moments. It's really not easy to get out of your own way in life a lot. But when it comes down to the idea of pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps and not counting on anybody else but yourself to get that process started, it's really important. And I have learned everything in your book recently. And so reading it is just like it's an awesome review and what so many people need to hear, once they see that, hey, this isn't just a foo-foo idea anymore or we are what we think about that's in the Bible somewhere anymore. This is proven, now we've actually got scientific proof, which is the most fun and really energizes me to spread the word because you're not trying to sell a concept anymore. You're really able to explain neuroplasticity and explain, meaningful or the cognitive restructuring part of it, really huge developments that I feel like a lot of people haven't had a chance to hear about. So really glad you did this, Gina. I'm really proud of you. This is awesome.
Thank you, Blake. I was telling everyone when you swooshed into the room that you and I met through social media. And so for me, I saw you and your posts and like how deeply meaningful they were to me. I reached out to you And the moment that I met you in person at Trimble, I like almost tripped over myself to come hug you. And Scott was there, and I was like, oh my God, there's Blake. I gotta go, like, and I like tripped because you're incredible. I mean, your story of like sharing your story of being like at the bottom and how you pulled yourself up to thrive is so powerful. I mean, it's incredible. And you have a mascot now, which I actually told Aaron Craddock yesterday on a podcast that he needs to go find Spot On, and why you have Spot On in your little light post, but little light man. But honestly, I'm proud of you because you're the one that went through the darkest times and you came out stronger. So congratulations on that. Tell everyone, Blake, how you're going to thrive in 2025. Besides your little mascot, because Nugget and Spot On are going to meet someday.
Oh, you better believe it. I should have put him in the background too. Yeah, I tell you what, my big thrive in 25 around this subject matter specifically is to continue to learn, continue to hear the same stuff over and over again. That way I download it better and I can be way quicker about catching it in the instant versus having to go back a few minutes or a few hours later. And share it. Tell everyone, hey, this is real. We are what we think about. We're not just saying this, and we can change that. Especially in the company's culture, just having we're now doing weekly, learning check-ins, and we'll use this book as one of the things going forward for taking some nuggets out of it, if you will, to share. And again, I can't say it enough. It's nice for, at least for me, I've always been, I need to have proof before I start, wanting to share things out with the community or with the public. I need to know that it's raw, that it is real versus it is a theory that we all can say we felt and lived and all the things, it really does change that. So you mentioned Dispenza in your book a couple of times. One of my favorite humans on earth the last 3 or 4 years. This guy is really brings it. And those kind of sharing that kind of stuff, it's amazing. We start our meetings now with gratitude versus just starting with issues, right?
I love that.
Huge change. And our most negative Nancy in the company is now saying, man, when I put my feet on the floor in the morning, I'm thinking about what to be grateful for. I'm thinking about what I'm going to say in the stand to start to be grateful for. Or I'm just thinking about, I know we're going to talk professional gratitude. I'm thinking about what I'm grateful for in my house before I leave my house. Somebody that I would have put a nice little wager that would take the longest to get it, got it the fastest, right? And understood. Again, I've kind of been guilty of seeing it as like a little bit cheesy for a long time, in my life. Not believing it. It's just it's a theory. Yeah, maybe that person, the way they think, the way their mind works, and it's like, no, we're all designed the same way. We're all designed the same way. It's teaching people that we're looking at the view from our experience versus the view of present day right now, and what reality is for us right now. That's just such awesome education. So that's my biggest thing, is just continue to learn myself every day, whether it's leadership skills that are based around this, whether it's just learning more about the science to take it more down the path. But again, I've been borderline obsessed with sharing it with folks. So, I was really happy to come on here and do this part just because just to help get it out. And now we have something in writing, 196 pages, I think it was, of greatness. So appreciate that a lot. So
thank you so much. Yeah. What is one thing, if you could pick one thing? You said gratitude, and I love that you're doing that. Did you get a sunshine jar? If not, I need to send you one. Did you get a sunshine jar?
No,
right,
no.
You need a sunshine jar.
What I did get was this, though.
Oh,
this is from you.
Can you read it? Got that. Well, I know what it says.
What do you know about that? I think there it is. There it is.
Yeah. I'm sending you a sunshine jar because you are celebrating gratitude, and we need to give grace to ourselves, and like you said, like forgiveness to yourself. I know Marina was talking about this before you came on. Like, looking at social media and saying, I need more followers, or why, like looking at yourself like negatively because of something that, you know, you're thinking in your head that you don't have to. You can like give yourself grace not to think those things, right? And I think, you know, why don't you share one thing that, you know, one thing that you learned, like one specific thing that has created a positive change in your life?
Gosh, there are so many of those. But one, I hope this is okay for an answer, but I really feel blessed because I feel like I've always thought from this perspective, but not realized that it was a not common perspective, if that makes sense. So I think my biggest lesson is validation in that perspective, or perception, whichever one it is. Sorry, I always get those mixed up, but you know, whichever one it is knowing that with Dispenza, especially saying all the ways he orates it and all that up until this book. I had this book as another thing. Dispenza was kind of my guy. Really, he orated it really well. And it's like, that's how I've always felt. That's how I've always felt that way, or felt that this, that, the other. So, you know, that's probably the biggest thing is connecting those two things to then give me confidence to continue to grow it myself, and then again share it. You know, that I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but that's what comes to mind when you ask that question, is just finding the science that backed how I've always kind of lived my life in a way. You know, when I pulled myself out of that bankruptcy, depression, you know, substance stuff that I was doing, trying to get through it, when I pulled myself out of that, it wasn't because I learned all this. I just figured it out. But then after I started to reemerge, I started to find this stuff, and that's a lot like manifestation, if you ask me. Is that what do I need to keep my freaking boots on and keep walking? And who cares how deep the snow is, right? Let's just freaking go. And again, that's kind of been me, but I didn't really have anything to connect it to that like works with theory and science and everything else. So I hope that's good. If I come up with something better, more specific, you know, for people who might be watching and need to hear it, you know, that's more personal for me, but that's the quick answer I have for you.
You're incredible. Thank you, Blake, for sharing your story and being present and just being completely awesome. Like Marina and her belt. I mean, incredible. We have leaders here. Blake, what's your role at Spot On? Tell everyone. What's your role there?
I'm the founder of Spot On and the CEO, but not for very much longer because it's going to be running itself. And then I've founded a technology company as well that we're in our infant stages to solve some big giant problems in trucking. So that's where most of my focus is now, is on the technology side, because this is a good example of mindset and just going and understanding that you can. You may have to do a lot of work, or you may do more than the other person. You may not do it like the other person, but you can. I'm a trucking operator, right? I've been buried in my own trucking company for a decade plus, and I haven't worked on it at all. I've just worked in it. And so I'm transitioning that, and I'm going into technology. Like, I use the junk out of technology, but I don't know how to build technology. I don't know how to raise, you know, I'm learning I know all this now, but when I got into this, it's like, I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. But I wanted to solve a problem, and I knew it, in order to do it, I was going to have to play the game and figure out what the rules were. And so, you know, you just, if you apply yourself and go, anyone can. And that's the thing that I think we put marks on people because of their status in any way, shape, or form, whether it's the vehicle or the house or the podcast that has that's this many whatevers, you know, all these ways that we measure other people. But what I feel like we forget in my observations is they are to be respected for what we're seeing in that lane, but they are not to be worshipped as if they have the whole entire thing across the board figured out. And a lot of times we do that. We look at these people and we look up to them for the wrong reasons, right? And so I want to be a shining example of that. It's like you just have to figure it out and go through the school of hard knocks and earn the degrees and ask the questions and get the mentors and get the people around us, right? And so it's people that think, well, that I wish that was me. Change that to that will be me. I mean, if you really do wish that'll be you, then it's not going to just show up, but take the steps, and you'll be blown away at how many things come at you when you start to take the steps. And that's the manifestation side that I'm not sure how much science there is around that one, around the manifestation. Maybe we could talk about that, but wow, just wow. I mean, it's just your focus, wherever your energy is where it manifests out. So it's crazy, you know, and you're looking for to solve a problem, and you have a way to solve a problem, and then all of a sudden these opportunities come for you to facilitate that solution without you even having to do anything sometimes. So you do a lot of work, but there's a lot of things that come to you from doing the early work, that make this stuff easier. So people that are just like, hey, I'll start tomorrow, you know, no, go now, and don't think you can't be exactly who you're looking at wishing you were. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, I just took over for a minute. Sorry.
No, I love that. Marina wanted to respond. Marina, what were you going to say? Were you going to respond?
I love everything you're saying. I feel like we should be friends, Blake.
Yes,
yeah, indeed. Let's do it. Let's be friends.
Everyone here
100%.
should be friends. I will tell you, you attract a community that you want to be around, right? The people you want to be around. This is it. Who's on the call? We have Lindsay, and she's going to introduce herself, and Denise Miller, and Scott Anderson, and Tim, I was going to call you Tim Sohn again, Tim Sohn, and
just
Blake.
Do it. Be consistent.
No, I say his last name.
I'll change my last name.
No. But that's the thing.
I love it.
Go ahead. Marie, you want to say something?
Oh, I just wanted to say, like, comment back on the limitations that you talk about. We impose labels on people, and just say that a lot of that self-imposed, like where you just say that, well, I'm a trucking operator. I'm not. This is who I am. But why not? Why can't you be a technology mogul? Like, start your own thing. Like, I want to hear about what problem you're trying to solve, because there's a lot of problems that we need technology for. So I'll definitely connect with you afterwards. But I just want to share my quick story about my own limiting label, where I was very much behind the scenes in the company's infancy, because I didn't think anyone would take me seriously, because I'm a young woman in this man's world. And it couldn't be further from the truth. If you show up in authenticity and your own power, and you stop limiting your own beliefs, it changes the whole game. Like, people perceive you how you, like, from inside out, right? Like, if you feel that way, it kind of bleeds out. So when you start changing it inside, and you create the labels and inside of who you want to be, that is how you become more perceived. So I love what you have to say. I'm so thankful that you're on here and I got to meet you.
Hey, likewise. And I love that response, because it is very real. And I feel like everyone battles this in one way or another. And a battle might not even be the right word. Everybody has this come up in one way or another, but we have to choose the battle, right? We have to choose to keep walking through it versus seeing it as a wall.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of you for pulling out, because you're right. A young woman, the stereotype would be what you said. But the reality isn't, especially when you come with knowledge, or you come looking to learn, right? Speaking of learning, you looking to thrive, if you will. When you come in, like, it doesn't matter at all. But I do understand where you're coming from, where it can feel that way. And there may have been people to treat you that way. Mm-hmm. Those aren't the only people in the world, right? They aren't the only people you're going to have to deal with. They're not. In fact, what I call that is the world's best filter.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
It teaches you where to put your energy. It's like, okay, if you're going to hate, then I'll let you stand over there and hate. That's fine. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you're saying. If you're going to give me feedback, I'm going to listen, respond, and we'll work through it. But if you're just going to hate over some stereotype or some assumption, then thank you for doing that, because now I know I'm not going to waste any more time worried about your opinion, you know?
That's perfect. I love that.
Yeah. And we should remind everybody that we're here at the Thrive book launch party. Dina released this book today, and you can find it on Amazon. It's also on Barnes & Noble, but on Amazon, you could get it for $9.99 for the paperback just today, and $5.99 for the Kindle, which is a great deal. So definitely check it out. Dina, do you think we should do another book giveaway? What do you think?
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Thanks, John. I'm so happy to see everyone here. We have Gina Elber, family friend. She showed up today. John Kessler, he's here. Valerie's here. Ambrine's here. So many people. Terry Tisch. If you don't know Terry, you should connect with him, because he's amazing, just like the rest of the humans on here today. I'm so excited. Let's do it. Let's spin it. Let's see.
Here we go. Everybody make a drum roll sound. Here we go.
Let's do it. Let's go. Let's not have me again. If I win again, I get a special prize.
That would be hilarious.
Oh no.
Let's see who's it gonna be.
John.
John
Okay,
Kessler.
John. Make sure you send me your address. so I can send you a book. Congratulations, Sean. He's just left, so you might have to ping him, but good. Awesome. Yeah. Well, here we are at my launch party. Let's go ahead and let's introduce our new guests that just joined. We have 2 new guests that's joining the crew. We have with us Denise Miller and Lindsay Wagner. Denise, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are, where you're calling in from, and what you're passionate about.
Hi, everybody, and congratulations on the new book.
Thank you.
I'm from Maine, and it's snowy and kind of cold right now, but I work for Roadrunner. I started out as the safety compliance coordinator, and I moved into a role of OSHA compliance in May of 2023. And I am so thankful that we got to join partnership with you in October of last year, because my passion is learning and all things creating. And with your system, we're able to create our own content, and it's so fun. I love it. So yeah, that's what I'm passionate about.
I love that. How are you going to thrive in 2025?
Well, I'm going to kind of piggyback off what Blake said. I'm going to stop with the stereotype I put on myself, and I'm going to branch out, because I know I've read it somewhere. I can't remember who coined this phrase, but everything you desire is on the other side of fear. And I really think in order to grow, you have to be uncomfortable, and that's where I'm headed this year, because quite honestly, it's been a few years. I kind of lost my passion. After I lost my dad, I lost just the desire to just do anything fun. I just basically lived, right? So I think everything happens for a reason, and you have definitely helped kindle me to move forward. So I thank you for that.
Oh, you know what I love? I saw you last night on Tim's Perspective in Cancer podcast, and I was loving all. I had no idea that you had lost your parents to cancer, and I lost my mom in November. So, I mean, just to show up, and I think that's so key in my book too, of being connected, you know, igniting a new fire to live and being there for each other, because look, I mean, like Marina and Blake just met. They had a connection. Like, that's the thing. You have to show up, because you get to understand people's perspectives. And so I'm so glad that you're going to thrive in 2025, and that you met Tim, and you guys can, you know, collaborate as well. So this is incredible. I love it. It's so awesome. What do you think? Denise, in terms of one thing that you learned that ignited a positive change in your life?
Wow. I think, like someone said it before, connection with others and seeing how you can help them kind of helps inspire me, right? So I've built a lot of relationships in my job here, and once we've gotten Luma, I've been able to connect with a lot of other people, and it's just I don't know, it makes me feel worthy, I guess. If that's a thing.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. It ignites a fire inside, you know, it makes you feel alive again. And that's what learning does. You see it with Blake. I mean, just the energy of, like, you know, wanting to inspire others to lead a better, because you understand where you've been. And like you said, this isn't made up. This isn't just a feeling. This is science. I mean, neuroscience, studying the brain and looking at the structure and knowing how different technology and different things that you do in your life impact you as a person. And so it's so critical that we stay connected. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. Thank you for connecting and just celebrating. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have Lindsay with us today. And Lindsay, she gave a quote for the back of my book. So I celebrate her so much. Thank you, Lindsay, so much. Why don't you introduce? And I got to meet Lindsay in person. So I feel like I am just so lucky to have met her. Lindsay, tell everyone where you're at, where you are, what you do, and what you're passionate about.
Well, hi, Gina. Thank you for having me today. My name's Lindsay, and I am the Marketing and Communications Manager for CFI Trucking Company. We're based in Joplin, Missouri. So similar to Denise, we're about to get some snow. It's pretty cold here. Yeah. But I'm just so excited to be here. Gina, your book really resonated with me in a lot of ways. I loved that there are mindfulness activities throughout every chapter. Mindfulness is something that I started practicing several years ago, but as with everything, life sometimes can get in the way and you fall out of good practice. So that happened for me, and I felt a big change whenever I stopped practicing that. So whenever I read your book, it just kind of rekindled the importance of that for me. And it came at such a good time because it's a new year. So why not start out, a new year with some good, great habits and be ready to thrive in 2025. So
I love that. I didn't even plan it, to be honest. I didn't plan it to be like released in 25. My goal was to have it released at Halloween time because I wanted to have a treat for everybody. But my friend Barbara, who is on here, I don't know if she's still on. Hi, Barbara. And bye, Gina. Gina's leaving. Barbara, if she's on, she gave me a great tip, and I have to commend her. She said, Gina, just write 15 minutes a day. And I'm like, okay, that's a good tip. And I did. And every day I just, no pressure. There's no pressure, no more, no less. You can do anything for 15 minutes a day. If you're going to practice gratitude like Blake or Kevin Monroe, if you're going to write, if you're going to think positively when you get up, whatever it is, 15 minutes, just do it for 15 minutes. And I'm like, she's on to something. And so 15 minutes is all I did. And then I got done. And I believe there's Barbara. She's like, yep, that's how to do it. So I definitely believe that there isn't just by chance, and I published it on what had been my mom's birthday on Monday, and it's just not by chance. So I love that. And thank you, Lindsay, for being here and telling us that and where you're from. Joplin, Missouri. I think about Scott and I visited there, and the tornadoes that happened there. Several years ago, we did a lot of research and the impact that had on so many people's lives. I mean, they lost everything. And, when you go through hard times like that, like Blake, or like all of us, we've all had hard times, whether it's cancer or invisible illness or death of a family member or anxiety or whatever it is, you have to find a way forward. How have you, or how do you think people did, or what advice would you have for people to move forward through something like that? I mean, it's just so significant. Fires in California right now. I mean, I'm like, you're seeing it, it's just like complete devastation. Mm-hmm.
I think some things you touch on in your book is just like acceptance. The bad thing happened, but that doesn't have to be your future going forward. So acknowledging how you feel is so important, and then accepting and going on from there, not just staying buried in the negative thoughts or the negative things that happen to you, but just finding the strength and the courage to move forward.
Most definitely need the strength. What do you think, Tim?
Finding strength it can be a challenge sometimes, right? Depending where we are in our life. Like, I'm a cancer survivor, and my journey has been kind of a roller coaster, but I find that when we come together in community like we are today, and we can share our stories, yes, about trucking, but also, about different things as well that we relate to as human beings, we can relate to each other. We can learn to each other from each other. We can uplift each other. Right, Gina?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that you have to come to the table ready to accept that, and be ready to connect with other people. Because if you're not ready, if you haven't accepted that, like we were talking about earlier, then you're not going to be able to connect. And I think that's why, people are disconnected a lot of times because their minds are not present in the moment with the people that are right next to them, with the people right next to you, like you're so disconnected. And so, we have to reconnect and we have to be there for each other. And then at that point, you can feel the happiness and release the dopamine that we're all so much craving. You know, we have to connect with each other. If you're having a bad day, reach out to Blake, you know, text Blake, text Scott, text Tim, text Barbara, text Valerie. There's so many of us that want to help each other, that we can help each other move forward in a positive way. You know, Blake was checking in on me when my mom died. Like, how are you doing? Like, this isn't something that's going to go away. You know, people check on you, and you know that you have them in your corner. And I think that's what's important, because when you feel like you don't have people in your corner, that's when you start to feel alone. And so that's really helps me re-energize and reignite the passion for living. And if you don't know what it is that, you know, makes you happy, you really have to find that and discover that within. What do you think, Scott? What have you found to discover what makes you happy?
I think it is kind of a challenge sometimes. You know, I mean, obviously, I don't think you can really be happy all of the time. But I think for me, a lot of the principles you talk about, like, for example, like the locus of control, I think that's kind of like, when I learned about that, that was just like a huge, I guess, source of inspiration for me to say that, you know, I can make the decisions to be happy or to manifest what I want. But also just kind of being mindful to realize it's like, understand my emotions are what they are and they don't define me. Like last night, I had a really bad day yesterday, and we were running. And as I was running, I was thinking, it was like, man, I just can't kick this. It's just like, just the heaviness. And then I just had a thought to myself. I'm like, you know what? When I wake up in the morning, I won't feel this way. And then as soon as just like I acknowledge that, it's like, it just made it so much better. Like, okay, well, I can handle this for the moment. You know, it's not that big of a deal. It's not the end of the world to have a hard day. And so just like continually reminding myself. And I think that's just kind of like part of the mindfulness, you know, and part of just like the engagement and living in the moment.
That's awesome. Blake, I saw you shaking your head.
Just all of it, all the way back to, somebody mentioned fear, which may have been mentioned before I got on, but false evidence appearing real. Fear. False evidence appearing real. I don't know if y'all have heard that before, but that is one I live by a lot. And so that one kind of resonates. A lot of our roadblocks or our sticky or stuckness that we tend to is based in fear. Or my other favorite thing to say is we write our own story. Like, we carry around this pen, and we write. Our head just automatically writes what we think of something every time, everything we see. But we have to remember where that pen comes from. You know, that pen, if we're not mindful about it, that pen only writes from our personal experiences, traumas, and the way we've been treated. And it's like, how many times have we said, well, I go to this place and it ended up in a negative way. Well, I'm never going to that place again, because it'll always end up in a negative way. You know, probably one of the worst things we can do for ourselves is to take one result and make it every result. I even like to preach, if it's 9 out of 10 were bad, but you had one good, what is that thing? Is it something you really need to be doing or going to, or whatnot? There's probably a way to get through and flip that to 9 good, 1 bad. Don't always, we so often say, every time I'm on that highway, I sit in 30 minutes of traffic, so I'm not going to do it, even if it is a Sunday morning at 7 a.m. You know, there's always traffic on that highway. You know, that's probably a really not good example, but you know, writing our own story is I believe, and scientifically I don't know, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's our default. It's our default mechanism, is writing a result of something based on what we know, which is super limited. You know, what we know as individuals, we're super limited. We have our lane that we're really good in, but we're very, very limited outside of that, right? So I don't know, just I love this gathering. This is really neat to be able to all talk in the same kind of from the same kind of perspective, just looking at what we've learned and what others can easily learn themselves if they just stop to think about it and then read your book to get the science to proves it, right? I mean, again, this is not, we're not just talking about this, so it's really fun. So I'm nodding to everything because I'm really enjoying this room right now. It's great.
I love that. Barbara says we need to talk to our brain to stop negativity. I think, one of the things that's really interesting about your brain is you make assumptions.
Yes.
You can sit and have like 13 thoughts from that first thought, and half of them, or more than half, aren't even reality. You manifest in your head what you think reality is, but that reality is your reality, which might not even be really the situation. And so you really have to stop yourself. And I told Scott this all the time. I have a practice I write about in my book about, I picture a stop sign, and on that stop sign, it's like what do you imagine on the stop sign? And you really visualize it and you really focus on it. And that's really a meditative practice of how you stop your brain from stop talking about it. And I picture an apple with a worm, and it's probably because I was a teacher, a former teacher, but the worm has this like really weird grin on its face. And I always picture it and I stop myself. And you really have to focus, because if you don't focus on that stop sign, you're going to continue to think those thoughts. And like Scott did, he practiced that on the bridge last night. He was running and he's like stopped himself, because that's just going to lead down a path where you feel less worthy, less deserving, less focused. And you really just have to stop yourself. You have to stop yourself.
And small victories in that, right? If you stop yourself and then you still end up doing it, you still have a small victory there, because you did get to that. You saw a stop sign first. I found this in trying to move away from, unhealthy habits to get through bad times, right? And I would, even if it's an hour that you it's another hour before you choose to do that habit or that decision or that action, that does count. It doesn't count as a win, a big W, but it does count as a small W. And so don't beat yourself up because most people aren't even stopping at all. Overwhelming majority, in my opinion, are not stopping at all. So I that's something that I had to battle with and fight through and say, look, that was a positive, even though I still made the wrong decision. Sometimes it's just as simple as eating the wrong foods late at night, right? And it's like, I hate when I do that, because in the morning I feel different. And it's simple, but it's real. And if you meet me in person, you will see I enjoy food, and I need to stop enjoying food the way I enjoy food, right? So, but that's my current battle. Just to be real, that's my current battle. Is each night it's like, if I can go 1 hour without jumping in and eating the wrong thing, that means tomorrow I can probably go 2, and the next day I can probably go to sleep, or whatever, however we want to look at it. So just making sure that people don't think this is just a slight switch we're talking about, but it's way more of a, educate yourself, pay attention to what you learn, implement it a little bit at a time, don't overwhelm yourself, and don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work immediately. If something doesn't work immediately, it's kind of a big one for me, personally, at least.
Absolutely. Marina, what were you going to say?
I do have to pop off, but I wanted to say just one more thing. It made me think of the whole conversation of how it's just directing it's easy, but it's also very hard of directing your energy. It takes the same amount of energy to be in faith or in fear. You just get to choose that decision and awareness of every step of the way. Like, which way am I going to go? Am I going to go into fear, or I'm going to go into faith? And it's that fork in the road, every single thing that comes our way. And I just wanted to leave off with that and say thank you again for having me on.
Thank you.
I've already postponed the call as well. Like, all right, I'm running late.
All right. Thank you. See you later. Bye.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you. Lindsay, tell us how you're going to thrive in 2025.
Oh, goodness. So I mentioned earlier about mindfulness, and I think that's really what's going to be my tool for thriving this year. Just stopping and being present in the moment. You said something in your book where you said you don't have to have strong ties to someone to build a meaningful connection. And that really resonated with me. I meet a lot of people in my position, professional truck drivers. They've been on the road for a long time, and they just, when they get here, they really want to connect with someone. And I thought about that a lot, about how I meet them and the connection. It might be my first encounter and my last encounter with them. But if I'm really present in the moment, then it's going to leave a lasting impression. So I want to take that into every interaction that I have in 2025 and just focus on being present.
I love that. Can I tell you an example that happened with me? This will really resonate with you maybe because this is an example of that. So I was at an event. I'm not going to name the person because some of you may know the person. But I was at an event, and this was actually the person's last event. They were retiring. And I didn't know that in the moment, but I wanted to thank them for having me at the event because there's not a lot of opportunities that I get. And so I wanted to really just to tell them how much I appreciated that. And I gave them a little "You're awesome" card. I carry them in my purse and I give them to people that I don't know. I give them to strangers. He wasn't really a stranger, but he kind of was because it was the first time and probably the last time I'll ever meet him or see him. And he stood there in tears and he said that was really meaningful to him, that I recognized that, that was really impactful to me, that event. So in that moment, we had such a meaningful connection and neither one of us will ever forget that. And I think we have every day to do things like that. I carry them in my purse. And like I was in the airport in an airplane and I gave one to a stewardess that really felt like she was stressed out and she stood there and cried and we hugged. I'll never see her again, probably. But the point is, kindness matters. Kindness matters. Mindfulness matters when you're in the moment with the person and truly listening to that person and what they're saying and not thinking about that email. Like not thinking about what you're going to have to do in the next 10 minutes or not having 3 windows open because multitasking is not a real thing, and so you're not really present. I know if I multitask that my email is going to have a misspelling or I'm going to say something wrong. And I just know that, but I think it's really important to be mindful. So I'm very passionate about that statement because I've had very meaningful encounters with people I'll never see again. But I remember the moment because from neuroscience standpoint, what you've done is you created emotional resonance. And I talk about this a lot in my talks. Emotional resonance is one way to get information that you'll never forget. You think of 9/11. Those of us that lived through 9/11 will remember where we were, the moment it happened, what we were doing, what we did that, because emotional resonance. You can create the same emotional resonance without having 9/11 happen. You can create your own positive moment with someone that you will never see again. And like the thing is, like I remember meeting Blake in person the only time I met Blake, because we had a meaningful encounter. And so I challenge you and I challenge everyone to have a meaningful encounter with someone every day if possible. It will enrich your life. It'll make your heart better. It'll make your life better. And what Tim is trying to thrive and find in 2025 is joy. And guarantee it, you'll create more joy in your life with that. And so with that, I'm going to introduce our next guest. And Carol is here all the way from the West Coast, right? So I want to see what it's like over there in the weather. But Carol, introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are and what you're passionate about. And thank you for joining today.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me, Gina. I'm Carol McClellan. I am the e-learning developer at May Trucking Company, and we use Luma as our platform for doing that. So thank you very much. It's awesome. Gina, I'm passionate about seeing other people grow. I've been in the industry 18 years, 10 of that as a driver. This year is my 10th year as a driver. And I know when I started how hard it was. So to have this tool that we have to help other people grow is just amazing. So that's really what I'm passionate about, is to see, because it's like you said just now with one impactful meeting, right? One thing that happens that could change the trajectory of somebody else's success. So that's really what I'm passionate about. Yeah.
I love that. How are you going to thrive? Yeah, you did. How are you going to thrive in 2025, Carol? Tell us.
So I'm one of those people who can easily go on autopilot, right? Especially when it comes to social media, right? You go in and you look, but you don't post and you don't engage. So for 2025 is to cancel autopilot, be present, don't be afraid to reach out to other people and connect. I mean, your book at the moment is just so timely for me because it was one of those easy things to just sit back and do what you do, right? But you're right. You end up thinking, well, this doesn't feel so good. So all of those introspective exercises in the book, all of that gives you a pathway, a map, right? It's a roadmap as to go from where you are to where you want to be. So for 2025, getting off of autopilot and staying connected and making new connections with people. So
I love that. And then, let's do that. And then at the end of the year, when we have our learning lab, and this podcast isn't about Luma, but then we can get together and talk about how we grew this year. I mean, it's gonna be incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it is exciting. Your book is at a time where you can really use the information that's in there. Point A to point B on your own, right? Have a guide for that.
I love that. Thank you so much for that feedback.
Yeah. Carol, I'm curious, what's one lessons that you've learned recently that has helped you ignite a positive change in your life?
So, you get an idea about people when you meet them or when you talk to them. You might get a certain feeling about who they are or how they are. One of the things that I've learned is that you can't do that because you really need to engage and get to know people before you make a decision about how to interact with them or what kind of person they are. I mean, you might hear somebody's history to be part of your friend, right? Because you might hear, well, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. But you can't do that. You have to step into it, right? And hope that everybody gives you the same kind of respect and chances that you're doing as well.
I love that.
Tim,
no, it does, because it reminds me of Tim, and I don't know, Tim, if you want to share this story or not. No, because I think it's important. It kind of goes with Carol says. So Tim has cancer, and Tim and I had this conversation. So I own a business, and Tim is applying for jobs. And the question is, does he tell them, and as a business owner, I tell Tim he should tell them that he has cancer, but Tim had an experience where he, someone judged him because he had cancer. So I don't know. It's this idea of you would hope that everyone has an open mind to what challenges people have and they bring to the table. But if Blake came, for example, and said, look, I'm recovering, I was an addict. Is he going to be hired or is he going to be judged? It's hard. But me as a business owner, I'm open to who a person is. I'd rather Tim be honest or Blake be honest and say, I have this hurdle so that we know. But, Tim is like, Gina, that's not how business owners are.
Right. Yeah, it's just it's hard. It's hard to decide what to do with the cancer thing in an interview because I went on this interview and I was working at this nonprofit organization, this really incredible nonprofit organization that helps people who are homeless. And I was trying to figure out what to do with do I bring it up? Do I not? So I brought it up. And then I asked a question. So what is the culture like at your organization? And the lady in a really loud voice said, intense. And then I was like, should I have said that I have cancer? Because it's a really intense working environment. And then I never heard from them again, So
I would say try not to write the story that'll happen every time. Stick with honesty and transparency, in my opinion. You'll feel better about it. And again, I look at it. I know it's frustrating because you probably, if you're in a situation where you need this employment fast and those kind of things, that's not for me to decide or comment on really. But just to let you know, that's your filter. You may not want to work there if they're going to be jackraggers about your cancer.
That's what I told him. That's what I told him. Because if he doesn't tell them and he's honest, if he came to me and said that, I appreciate his transparency and honesty, Blake. So I'm glad that you said it's what Carol said. You should come to every situation open and honest and be real of who you are. And then you find people like this community that we have here today that all jive together because we're all in that same context. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not always easy up front, but it's definitely easier in the long run.
But you just can't keep people at arm's length. Sorry. You just can't keep people at arm's length.
Right.
You gotta bring them in.
Yep. Yeah. Even if it's the best nonprofit ever, there's another one like it. You know?
For sure.
There's another one like it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate all of your guys' perspectives, because it's like I do, like, in my heart, I believe, like, yes, I should be like transparent, and I try to like bring in the work that I do through showing up perspectives on cancer in my interviews when it makes sense. But this is really encouraging me. So I appreciate it, Blake and Gina and Carol and everybody. It's really helpful because it's a really challenging situation sometimes.
Yeah, of course it is, and I wouldn't know. I've had it around me. We all have, because it's such a god awful situation, cancer.
Yeah.
So you know, you're going through enough as it is. You really don't need the extra of a company finding out later and then treating you different, and then you go to work every day with that anxiety and, you know, all of that. And then again, just don't sell yourself short on, well, it's now this has happened 3 times in a row, so it's bound. This is every company. Be very careful with that, because that is not true.
Look at Blake. He's a business owner. I'm a business owner. I mean, there's people out there that wouldn't do that. You know, I'd rather have someone tell me the truth and be open and honest than find out later. You know, we've had situations where people aren't honest, and then that does impact their employment because they aren't honest. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then a lot of times they're those, if it's dishonesty around this subject, it's a lot different than just a dishonest person, but you don't know that as a business owner. You don't know if that's just who they are or if they were just scared of this one thing. So that is another factor, you know, that down the line when they do need to find out. I mean, I guess you play it as if you never had it and you just got it, but that you're not going to feel right. I don't feel you seem like a very, very good integrity person. So I don't think that's something that you want on your conscience either, you know, even if it is feeling life or death, job or no job, you know? So what was that? What's that little guy?
It's a go. It's a go. We like mascots, Blake, just like your light.
We do.
Lindsay has a mascot. Lindsay's company is thriving. Lindsay, what's your mascot? Spot on, right?
Our mascot, his name's Cosmo, so he's a blind spot.
He's a blind spot. He's a blind spot. I have him on a T-shirt.
He's been around for a long time with CFI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long time. I picked out a T-shirt, and that's the one. Of course, I want the mascot, because mascots make you feel alive, right? It makes something that you can look forward to. Definitely. I think it's important. And, you know, Tim, like you said, kindness always matters. You want to work for kind people. You want to work for organizations that thrive. Oh, Blake put spot on in the back. I love that. Blake, what inspired you? What inspired you for a mascot? What's your mascot about? Talk about it. Talk about it a little bit. Oh my gosh,
you 1000% by yourself. Only you. Only.
No,
yes, for real. I mean, of course, you're Scott. You guys are a team, so that both the mascot, the Nugget mascot, was such a neat idea and so fun. You know, to have the only ones around thinking of it, and so I was like, man, that is really neat. So this mascot is what it's supposed to represent. Is the dock light on a dock door for truck drivers when they're backed into a door locked in. They got a red and green light. And the red light is non-existent in this mascot. The face has killed the red light because we're trying to eliminate dwell time and eliminate waste time in trucking with our technology, combined with some assets. And that's supposed to represent a forever, eternal green light, baby. Eternal green light. Let's go. Drivers no longer should wait for a live load, in my opinion, and we're gonna make it a possibility for everybody. So.
Oh, it's incredible. I love that. And, you know, there is science behind the feelings that you get when you have a mascot. And, you know, it's interesting. You think about who has mascots, right? It's universities. They use it for marketing, but they also, you know, they use it to get people fired up. They get people excited, right?
Yeah.
It like releases dopamine. It makes you feel good. High schools, they have mascots. But what about businesses? Well, aside from CFI, May Trucking, do they have a mascot, Carol? I don't know.
No.
We don't have a mascot. Just our logo is obviously we have the little spider logo, and so we're pretty proud of that one. But yeah, there's no mascot.
Yeah, it's a well-known logo for sure.
Okay. I like that. I was talking to Aaron Craddock on Tuesday. I was on his podcast. He's going to think about getting a mascot. But what I told him is that you really have to think about the purpose of the mascot and how it represents your mission and your purpose. And I think Blake, you explained that really well with your mascot back there. But definitely there is science behind it. It's not just by chance that it's important to have a mascot. So I appreciate you all coming here. Tim, do you want to do another book? You want to give away another book? We have a few minutes left.
Yes.
We have
we're going to do
a little bit.
Yeah, we have about a little over half an hour, about 35 minutes left. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We see all of your comments saying thank you all for being here, whether you're here live or on the replay. There's Rich Gasson. Hey, Rich Gasson. Do you know Rich Gasson?
I don't know. I should know. Should we know Rich? I know Rich. Rich, connect with me.
Rich is amazing. Rich's mom actually passed away from cancer recently.
Oh, Rich, connect with me.
Yeah, and her mom created, I wish I had one around. She created thousands and thousands of Be Kind signs and gave them away.
Oh.
Rich, put in the comments how many thousands of Be Kind signs. And Rich shows up to my show sometimes, and I've had conversations with him, and he's amazing, and his mom is amazing. Him and his mom used to watch Showing Up while his mom was getting treatment. Which is really awesome. So thanks for being here, Rich.
Thank you,
and
Rich.
That's a really long way of saying we're going to do a giveaway now.
Yay, let's give it away. And for all of you on the show, I'm sending you a book. Our team's going to Costa Rica next week, so I'm going to get it to you the week after we get back. But I will send you all a signed copy. Thank you for coming today. I appreciate you all so much. Spending your busy day for a little bit with me is so meaningful. So thank you. So Blake and Lindsay and Denise and Carol and Marina, who was here earlier. Thank you so much. And Scott. Scott gets a book signed by me too. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Drum roll, please.
Drum roll. Let's do it.
Let's see. Who's it gonna be?
It can't be me. It can't be me again. Oh. Yay, Rich! Yay!
How about it, Rich?
Oh, good, Rich. That's great. Rich, you sent me. Now we're definitely going to be connected because he's going to send me his address, and then I can send him a book when I get back.
Totally.
There
and
we
also, go. Rich said that she created 15,000 signs she gave away of Be Kind signs.
Wow, that's incredible. There's a lot of ways. Kindness and gratitude, all of those things are so important. We had Kevin Monroe, who was here earlier, come to the Learning Lab and do a gratitude presentation. But in fact, if you try to send messages or little notes or different things to people during the week, it can help them feel better. And when they respond, it will make you feel better. So if you're trying to find ways of creating joy that's free, that's a really great way. So I love that. That's a lot of signs, by the way.
Right?
That is a lot of signs. That's awesome.
It's amazing. And he sent me signs to give out at my in-person events. Mm-hmm. It's really amazing. He's amazing. And Barbara's celebrating. Woo!
Woo, I love that.
Yeah, so I'm curious, everybody. I have a question for you guys. When you guys get in a rut sometimes, how do you find your way out? How do you find your way to resilience? I was saying earlier on Gina's show that a guest at my in-person event, Erica Newbert Campbell, was saying that we all already have resilience inside of us, and we just kind of have to find it sometimes and find tools to do that. Do any of you guys want to weigh in on how do you find resilience when you're stuck?
I think just not feeling like you have to go it alone. You know, building a network of people around you, and it doesn't have to be big. It's often better when it's small.
Yeah.
But just finding your people and letting them know when you're going through something, because you should never have to navigate anything alone. And I think that's what helps me the most.
Okay.
I like
I
that.
think that was a
Yeah.
great answer. And I think I found mine in just focusing forward, you know, making sure I grab the nuggets from behind, but don't look back for anything else, just only forward. And what do I want now? What do I want today? What do I need today? What can I do for others today? And again, just going forward with lessons, not memories, trying to relive them as part of right now, you know. I do have a very unique knack to be able to just kind of turn that off, the past, and just turn off the things that don't matter anymore, you know, and make sure that you realize every day, every minute, that life is happening for you, not to you. You know, I have to remind myself that a lot, and remind my team a lot. You know, this one thing, because it happened first thing in the morning, and it's kind of large and kind of annoying and messes up half the trucks for the day or whatever the story might be, doesn't mean the whole day's screwed. You know, oh, this is going to be one of those days. You know, when you catch yourself thinking like that, stop yourself quick, because that's only true if you let it be true, honestly. And if you're thinking that way, it's funny how manifestation can work that way too, and can bring it. And then also, like Gina was saying earlier, the way we're seeing most things is through a lens that is not real. You know, it is a lens created by our own selves. And once we realize that, like, oh, I'm seeing this way, probably because of the time, you know, I went through this or went through that, or I've had trust issues because I've had many humans in my life, cross me in some way or whatnot. And so we just think, oh, well, I have trust issues. Stop saying it like that. You know, just look at it as if I'm slow to trust, or I'm something else that's not, I have this. Because no, you don't, if you don't want to, you know. But if you don't stop yourself and really force it, it is hard. So my main thing is forward momentum, just forward momentum, and not sulking in the bad, and even the current bad. You know, like having cancer is a freaking big deal, and is very hard to work through. I'm certain of it. I'm sure there's some bright in there somewhere. Even if it's terminal, you have a time frame, there's your bright. You know, it's definitely not the best bright. That's easy for me to say. So I want to be very clear on that. But that's the way I would do it, is I just say, well, at least I got this. And the truth is, I think that based on the science, you could probably prove that wrong with your mind. And that's where Joe Dispenza gets a little bit off in the weeds for me. But I think, like you say in the book, he has these events, and at these events, these miraculous things happen, and there's plenty of witnesses. It's not nonsense. And there's people with MS getting out of wheelchairs and walking the rest of the freaking 7-day event. You know, that's really powerful stuff that we should really consider. Definitely not trying to tell you can fight your cancer with your mind, because I do not know anything about that. But I do feel you can fight the symptoms with your mind. You can fight the mentality that it's going to try to put on you with your mind. But again, just looking forward, you know, don't let the past define, don't let the last experience define. That's how I did it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
sorry.
I was going to say,
everyone wants to talk.
Who wants to go?
I think it's more about reaching out. Yeah, I was thinking for me, it's more about reaching out. For the smaller things, I can usually handle myself, you know, and get myself out of that funk. But when I get into an area where I just can't seem to get out of it, it's you know, whether you go help with Katrina recovery, or you go and do a cancer walk, or you get out of your own little thing and you're into this bigger purpose, right? And then that's what brings me out of those situations, is when you can get out of your own thoughts and get into a bigger picture where you're helping other people and seeing what other people are faced with. that's kind of what helps me out of those things.
Yeah,
awesome.
I love that perspective. I think too, like for me, I think that having support from other people like Gina, like other people who show up on the show that I host, who are going through similar things, having support from people, especially when you're like in a dark place and you're like, I'm not really sure how I could get out of this. You know, like I was in that place recently, but having people like Gina and so many people that I've connected with through LinkedIn that are so encouraging really helps. Do you guys find that as well?
Yes.
What do you think? Yeah. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, first of all, I think that the LinkedIn platform, I'm just watching like Gina kind of reach out her connections and meet a bunch of really make a lot of meaningful connections over LinkedIn, I think is just super, inspiring, and just to see you all, how you support each other. And I think it's just fantastic. So I really commend you for that, Tim and Gina, and, everybody else. It's, part of the community. And I think it's so important just to connect, everybody has hard days. I mean, they go through stuff, and some people go through harder days than others, and it's just about like finding that support. I was actually reading this idea recently, and it really stuck with me. It's actually about discipline. Not, I mean, it's kind of tangentially related, but it's this idea of like living in the moment, but doing things that serve your future self. And so it's like almost like acting as like a butler to your future self in ways that kind of help you make decisions in the moment to kind of help you in the future. And I think that's can be said for like, if you're in a really rough spot, helping your future self by like making those connections, or by like, even like doing your laundry, or like putting out your clothes for the next day or something like that. And can really kind of help put things into perspective, or at least put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, I like that. And I think too, Scott, it's about like making small steps, right? Like you were saying about like doing laundry or doing the dishes or whatever it is that needs to get done. Like you don't have to do like everything to feel better or to feel accomplished or whatever. It's the little things, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. The little things.
Were you going to say something too, Blake? Did you want to?
Yeah, I just think most of life is a snowball of little things. Most of winning is a snowball of little things. I think another one of those ways we see people that we're admiring and trying to like maybe follow in some way, or follow their footsteps because we like where they've gone, how they've done it or whatnot. We forget that overnight success is not ever true unless it's a freaking Powerball ticket. It's just, it's overnight to us because we didn't hear about them until we heard about them. But we don't know their story. We don't know their background. We don't know what they've done to get there. We don't know when they started. We can assume a 27-year-old it just started. Well, maybe not. They might have started at 15. We just don't know that in one way or another. And so yes, it is little victories, and that's why that hour delay, stopping yourself for at least some amount of time on something you want to stop yourself on forever, does count, because it's a snowball, in my opinion. The way it balls up. So there's Alan. Welcome, Alan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this kind of segues into Alan, because Alan's gonna introduce himself. Thank you so much, Alan, for showing up. This is incredible. Alan's company, 10 Ton. He's gonna introduce himself and talk about, but he has a mascot. What do you think? If we're talking about mascots, what do you think Alan's mascot is?
Is it a hot dog?
A 10-ton anvil?
Yeah.
A 10-ton animal. Yes. All right, Alan, introduce yourself and tell us how you're gonna, who you are, where you're at, what you do, and how you're gonna thrive in 25. And thank you for showing up. You're an incredible human.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. Gina, your book is just a conversation that is so needed today. And it's so where I'm today, I'm in Vegas. I'm actually like at the pool.
That's great for you.
But like, here there's constant stimulation. Every building is a television or a telephone at this point in time. And so, your book is on the forefront of my mind. My name is Alan Badia. I am the founder of 10 Ton Partners. And we help take pressure off of CEOs, particularly by helping them scale their culture once they get past 50 employees. And so, fun fact, the biggest elephant is like 7 tons. So this is a big elephant. But today's not about me. Today's about Gina and your wonderful book. And in some ways it does segue. I think when I talk to these CEOs, they have the weight of the world on them. And I think that they're very, very lonely on top of all of that. And so it's a great segue into your book. We really have become a society that just misses each other, even though we're right next to one another. It's the most incredible thing. So Dr. Gina, what's been some of the best conversations today, and maybe some insights or surprises that you've heard from people who have kind of gotten a first glance at the book?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the biggest surprise is how much it resonates with everyone. But I guess it's a surprise, but it's not, because I know it's a problem. You look around your neighborhoods and you don't see anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't see anybody. You go out to eat and nobody's talking to each other. So I guess it's not a surprise, but I think one of the things that has been repeatedly mentioned is how people are really going to focus on being in the moment. And I think as any business owner or any employee and just any human being, being aware of where your mind is in the moment is so critical. And we've all talked about that, and how we're really going to focus in on our own needs and our own true selves to make a difference for other people. Because you have to be, and Tim knows this, right? Showing up, you have to take care of yourself before you can engage and take care of other people. So I'm so thankful that you're here, Alan, and your company and what you provide for organizations. And we can all help each other, and you always show up, and I appreciate that. And it was great meeting Alan. I met Alan, Scott, and I met Alan in person, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was incredible.
There was coconuts involved, and I think but even that was a great moment too, because there was a lot going on. And if you ever meet Gina in person, she's so personable, she's so present, right? And I think it's so it's so refreshing to be with people who are present in the moment. And I think we can take that for granted. I think it takes a lot of intentional effort to be present. And yet, some of the book, just that's how we learn. And so, I guess one thing is that Gina's such a living witness of this. So kudos to you, Gina, of course. You practice what you preach. And then secondly, I forgot to share how I'm going to thrive this year. And I think I had said, I want to embrace growing pains versus just being stuck in static pain. And I think that has to do a lot with just being present. Static pain is like, I'm just here. I'm kind of an autopilot, and I'm just kind of stuck here. And because I'm not intentional, because I'm not present, I'm not embracing the opportunity that's in front of me.
Beautiful. Well said. I love that.
That's awesome.
Carol, what were you going to say? Oh, I thought Carol was going to comment. It sounded like Carol was going to say something. No.
It's right up the alley that I've been going as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, thank you. And you might have missed, but Julie Decker just joined us. Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Julie, why don't you you don't know everyone on the call. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell everyone who you are, and tell everyone how you're going to thrive in 2025.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Decker. I'm the Director of Operations for Luma Brighter Learning. I have the direct pleasure of working with Gina and Scott every day. And learning about how to thrive from them uniquely is really a special experience. I plan to thrive this year with gratitude and by helping uplift other people. I think that's really important to remember. It's part of what can help you continue to advance your life is by helping other people. And the more you can do that, the easier it is to live in the moment, appreciate the small wins. And uplifting other people is a great feat for the year that I'm looking forward to.
I love that. That's incredible. Julie, where are you located? Tell everyone. Alan's in Las Vegas right now. You are in completely the other planet. Where are you at?
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's the other side.
Hey,
Yep.
Nuggets making an appearance. Nuggets making a little appearance in here. I like it.
Yeah,
Little Nug up
absolutely.
there.
Nugget has to join us, thriving in 2025.
Just hanging
That's
on
good.
the wall.
That's awesome. What is one thing, Julie, that you've learned recently that's helped you ignite a positive change in your life?
Absolutely. I think it's giving myself grace in presence. So allowing myself not to worry about how I feel or what moment I'm in, and taking that time, if I need time, to just feel the moment.
Julie's
Very
incredible. If you don't know Julie, she's an amazing person, amazing human being, and I appreciate her and her thriving and her ability to be a leader at Luma. So thank you for shouting out to Julie being here. We appreciate you. So thanks for coming to my book launch 2025. Here we come. Woo woo.
Yeah.
Do you think we should do another? Should we do another before we introduce Sadie? Should we do another book free launch? Do you want to give another book away?
Yeah, maybe you'll win another one. I mean, you'll have all these books that you could give away. It'll be great.
No,
I'm just kidding.
no.
Yes, yes. Let's do
Everyone
another
that's come is going to get a book signed by me. I'll send you all a book.
Thanks, Gina.
So yeah,
That's
you bet. Well, thank
amazing.
you all for being here. I appreciate it. We're going to give away another free book though. Here we
All
go.
right,
We've
here
given
we
away
go.
so many so far.
Drum roll.
Let's do
drum
it.
roll.
Drum roll. Let's see. It can't
We're going
be.
high tech here.
Wow. This is cool.
Yeah. Oh, let's see.
Let's
Is
see
it
what
up?
Oh, you win again. Congratulations.
Do it again. I don't know why I'm in it. Why am I in it? That's silly. That's so silly.
It's because you.
Well,
use
you
that
need one
hashtag.
too. I mean, you know.
Oh, Alyssa!
Yeah.
Alyssa won! Yay! Good job. I love that. Alyssa's on Luma Team too. She shows up all the time. Awesome. That's so great. Well, everyone, guess who just joined us?
Who joined us?
Sadie Church. Say hello, Sadie. Tell everyone who you are and what you do, what you're passionate about.
Hey, everyone. So again, my name is Sadie Church. I am the Director of Marketing for EBE Technologies. I work primarily in the trucking industry, have been in the industry for many, many years, and also a former Luma user, which is how Gina, big Luma super fan. And Gina and I have quite a bit in common. Both love the study of happiness and gratitude and positive psychology. So I was so excited and so honored to be invited to join the book launch. Absolutely love the book. So many emotions throughout. So I cannot wait for others to read it as well.
Thank you so much. Tell everyone how you're going to thrive in 2025.
So I will say I've been on this journey for quite a while, but my plans are I've gotten really good at journaling, daily meditation, special focus on gratitude journaling. I think it's really important for people to know, we're right at the beginning of the year with New Year's resolutions. So many people fall off the second week. I think it's really important for people to know that you can start anytime, anywhere in this journey. And even if you stop, you can always pick it back up. So whatever you plan for 2025, if you fall off the wagon with it, it's okay to pick it back up and get back on the bus again.
Yeah. Scott and I talk about resolutions. People ask us, and well, Scott, what was your answer? So they were like, Scott, what's your resolution? What did you say?
I think I said something like, I'm always making resolutions.
Yeah, it's where's now?
Like constantly. Yeah. It's just working towards a goal. So.
Yeah, I love that, Sadie. Thank you for sharing that. What's one thing that you learned recently that's ignited a positive change in your life?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one.
You can think on it. We can help you. You can think on it. What do you think? I don't know. What are you seeing, Alan, in Las Vegas? You see anything that you think is going to create a positive change in Las Vegas? What do you think they could learn? What's the biggest thing that somebody could learn there, you think?
Turn off all the lights. Turn them off. Put down the phones. Just put down the phones and be present. I mean, it's been really great, even though there is just constant visual stimulation here. It's been so good I was talking with Michael Walters, I think.
Oh,
who's
okay.
in the Ink community, and we had an awesome conversation at dinner last night and how important it is to be in person with one another and just the ability, like even over Zoom, you lose, it can become transactional. But when you're in person with somebody, it just changes the dynamics. You can read each other's body language. You can be all the more present to one another. So that's what I'm feeling and experiencing here in Las Vegas, is like, hey, even in the most stimulating environment, you can still put down the phone and be present to the person in front of you and find some peace.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're at the fastest growing? Is that where you're at? I think I know where you are now that you just said that.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Well, good to say hi to Morgan for me and the team. Yeah.
We want to give you a big shout out. So yeah.
Oh, okay. That's incredible. Awesome.
So Gina, how are you feeling right now?
Oh my gosh, I am like overwhelmed with gratitude for all the support and everyone that showed up today and everyone that wanted to be part of this. And, you know, the thing is, this isn't about me. This isn't about my book. This isn't about making money off the book, because I don't care about that. I'll donate it all. I can donate it all. It doesn't, you know, it's not about that. But really what it's about for me is helping people really improve their lives and reach the joy that they're not experiencing. Like I said, I was in a room, auditorium, and people said they felt like only 3 or 4 people raised their hand. People aren't feeling like 4 and 5s. We all have a responsibility. Blake and Alan and myself have a responsibility, and Scott as business owners, to make sure that our people are feeling good. And in fact, I say this to Julie, and I still don't understand, like we have a rating system at Luma, and I want people to feel like 10s, and people don't rate themselves 10s. Julie rated herself an 8, you know, and it's like one of those things. It's like, I want people to feel like 10s, but at the end of the day, they have to want to feel like a 10 too. And so my book is about helping people overcome the hurdles that they have, so they do feel like a 10, you know? And so for me, this is a movement. That's why I'm so excited. This is a movement to share people the science, like Blake said. This isn't just my opinion. This is the science of neuroscience, of how our brains really work, so that we can help each other move forward. And if we understand that, there is an incredible power within all of us to find that joy that we're desperately seeking. And I find joy showing up every day, being around my tribe and my team and my people. And I get energy from that. And Alyssa was here, and Andy was here, and Julie is here. Elizabeth was here, you know, our team, and not only our team, but our people. This is our tribe. You guys, like everyone here knows that everyone that was here support each other. So I have a lot of gratitude for the opportunity to be part of something with so many incredible people. So really, I thank all of you, because we are the Thrive Tribe, and we can all make a difference wherever we're at, whether we're in Green Bay or Oregon or Las Vegas or wherever we are, to make a difference, or Pennsylvania, or, you know, wherever we can make a difference. So thank you all for coming to my party today. And really the celebration is about you and finding the joy in 2025, just to be happy. And I know we're going to be happy next week, because Julie and I are going to be in Costa Rica together with Scott. Yes.
Nice.
So awesome.
Did you bring Scott along?
Yeah, Scott's coming too. He left video. He's probably, you know, taking care of a client, but yeah, we're going to have a great time. So thank you all so much for coming today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Gina.
Very welcome. Thank you for taking the time to write this book.
Yeah, you bet. Share it with your friends, share it with your neighbors, share it with your companies. Just share the goodness that can be 2025. The power is within. If you're spending your days endless scrolling and chasing a feeling that you're empty, that rather than being fulfilled, I feel like the book has at least some strategies to help you move forward. So thank you all for coming today. You all will get a signed copy from me after I get back from Costa Rica, but you will get a copy. But for those of you that are interested, you can get a copy of my book on Amazon. It is on Barnes & Noble, but for today, there is a discount on Amazon and Kindle. And again, thank you all so much for joining me. We appreciate it. Tim's going to put the link, I think, one final reminder on the screen so people can find it. Oh, it's in the comments. Super.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gina.
We appreciate
Thank you, Gina.
it.
Congratulations.
Keep
Thank
driving,
you,
folks.
Sadie. All right. Yeah. Thank you. See you. Bye.
Gina. Hi.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah.
We're gonna end.
You want to end it? Here we go. We're ending it.
All
Thanks,
right,
everybody.
bye. Bye.